Okay, this is the cheapest bourbon I could find.
I'm a complete beginner looking to improve my palate and learn more about bourbon. So come along with me.
All right, I went on a quest to see what was the cheapest bourbon I could find. And this Kentucky Gentleman, this is the cheapest bourbon that I could find. It was under $8 for a 750, and it is. Well, let's go ahead and pour it. Let it breathe, and we'll find out a little bit more about it. So, go ahead and pour us a dram, big dram, good sized dram. How about that? So, all right. So while that's breathing, let that breathe for a little bit. This is Kentucky bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. So wait a minute. With natural flavors? Bottled by Barton Distilling Company, Louisville, Kentucky. 40% alcohol, 80 proof, since 1879. So this is a Sazerac brand, as I understand it. And I think what this is, from doing a little research, is it is 51% bourbon and 49% just neutral spirits. So paint thinner or something else. So anyway, I went on the some websites and figured I'd do a little research on this, and where better to find out about a bourbon than the liquor store websites. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of them here that I've looked at and printed off. And so let me read you some of the descriptions for this bourbon. So, Kentucky Gentleman description. Made in the bourbon capital of the world since 1879, Kentucky Gentleman is a smooth and classic bourbon whiskey. The southern hospitality of Kentucky Gentleman often includes Kentucky's finest on the front porch while the sun sets and wind whispers through the trees. This whiskey is meant for relaxing. Well, that sounds pretty good. Okay, let's see. This one. Kentucky Gentleman Bourbon is the perfect blended bourbon using the finest Kentucky straight bourbons made from finest grains. This is a great bourbon for using in your favorite cocktail or for just sipping. Okay, that sounds alright. Authentic bourbon taste distilled with centuries old traditional methods. Okay. So that's it's brief. Alright, well, I like this one. What makes a true gentleman? Taste, an appreciation of history, heritage, and hard work. That's why a true gentleman chooses to Kentucky Gentleman bourbon whiskey, distilled in the bourbon capital of the world since 1879. That sounds like a commercial. Okay. All right, here's one. Kentucky Gentleman is a brand of bourbon whiskey produced by the Sazerac Company at its Barton 1792 distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. The brand is sold as a blend of 51% straight bourbon and 49% neutral grain spirits and bottled at 40% alcohol by volume, 80 U.S. proof. It is a relatively inexpensive brand. Well, there is a very honest opinion. I like that one. That sounds like somebody who's not going to try to buffalo you. Okay, here's one. Kentucky Gentleman is made in the bourbon capital of the world. I've heard that several times, and represents generations of experience in bourbon making. Kentucky straight bourbon is made from the finest grains. Kentucky Gentleman is 80 proof. Yes, Kentucky Straight, it doesn't say that Kentucky Gentleman is Kentucky Straight bourbon. It says experience in bourbon making, period. Kentucky straight bourbon is made from the finest grains, period. So that's like, they could have put in here, you know, the moon is round, period. And it still would have been an accurate description because it does not say that this is straight bourbon. So don't put that in the lie pile. Okay? All right, here's one. A long-running brand, Kentucky Gentleman, is a simple, value-for-money bourbon with handsome retro packaging. Okay, I'll buy that. Evidently, the name dates back to 1879, over 100 years ago. Yeah, I guess, yeah, since 1879 and 79, yeah, that's over 100 years ago. Okay. All right. Created from a blend of Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey and spirits from the finest grains, questionable, represents generations of experience in distilling, bottling, and aging. Yes, I've been bottling for ages. Distilling, yeah, that's experience. Bottling, okay. All right, I love, this is my favorite. We'll end on this one. This is inaccurate. This is what it says. Description. Some of the photos may not match the actual item, so please carefully read the description before purchasing. And we'll end on that. So, I guess what that says is, if you want a really accurate description of a bourbon, or what it's really going to taste like, or if it's going to be good or bad, or I really wouldn't rely on the websites of the bourbon resellers. As much as the flowery prose, as you see, the honest descriptions were few and far between. So let's try this out. Okay, it doesn't smell bad, and it doesn't smell strong. You know, I would think that it would have like a really, really alcohol-y smell, kind of like that fake bourbon that I did. But let's give it a taste. Yeah, it has a. Sorry, that was not from the bourbon. That was just a cough. It's really watered down. It's just like bourbon that was just watered down. So it's not terrible. It's not bad. I mean, it's got 80% alcohol. Let's put it in a. I think this is really meant more for mixing than sipping. So let's put this in a Coke. And I don't really have a regular Coke. I do have a Diet Coke. So let's go ahead and just mix this up to see how it is, a bourbon and Coke. Let's go ahead and pour this in. And we'll do we'll be scientific here. We'll do about 1.5 ounces. Let's pour a little bit more in there. Because once it got in there with the Coke and the ice, You really almost can't taste it. It kind of disappears. Okay, let me drink a little bit more. Try a little bit more. Straight again. Yeah, it just tastes. Even though it's 80 proof, it just tastes like it's been way watered down, like half of that. And I think that's what it is, because it's only half bourbon. They probably took some of the not that great barrels and just mixed it with some vodka and put it in a bottle. If you were doing, you know, a frat party, you want something cheap to mix drinks, mix bourbon and cokes with, and say you had bourbon and coke, maybe, but you're just gonna taste the coke. It's not bad, but it's not really good. So that was Kentucky Gentleman. I probably won't drink it. I'll probably just put it on the back of the shelf, and not sure what I'll do with it. It's going to take up space. But that is that. And if you wanted to develop your palate, I would pick a bourbon that's not this, something that does have some flavor. And there's a lot of decent, good ones that are inexpensive. If you do want to develop your palate, I would really pick one of these. I mean, Old Granddad 114, Wild Turkey 101, Jody Bident, Very Old Barton. I really like Very Old Barton, JTS Brown, Evan Williams White Label, which is bottled and bond. I would pick any of those before I would pick this stuff to drink. And you could take one of these, drink it, smell it, drink it. What are you smelling? What are you tasting? What kind of notes are you getting? Drink it over the course of a week or two. Come back and do another tasting straight, and just, is your palate improving? Is your palate changing? Are you tasting anything different? I would much rather do that with one of these than this Kentucky Gentleman. I think this is basically just a waste of money. Anyway, drink the bourbon that you like, and drink responsibly. And until next time, enjoy, but not this stuff.